Starting. There we go. Here we are. I think we are live now, but now, like I always do, I need to check it because you just never know with this crazy thing we love called the internet. Let me check it. There we are. Okay. All right. Well, hello, folks. Welcome. Tank Talk Live today is July 14th. It is a Thursday. We do this every single Thursday at 8 p.m. If you're watching this between the hours of 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and whenever my special guest and I get done talking, you are watching it live. If you don't see the little live symbol down, let's see, where's it at? Let me try to get my bearings straight. Down here somewhere. If it doesn't say live, you're not watching this live. Understand that if you put up a comment and I don't respond to your comment, that's because you're watching a replay and I'm probably asleep. So I like to say that in the beginning of every single live stream, whether it's here or if it's on Facebook. I also live stream every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Tank Talk Facebook group. If you're not a member yet, why? Why aren't you? I mean, come on. Join. It's free. You get all kinds of meet all kinds of new people and stuff like that and have a lot of fun. It's a good time. So anyway, I'm all jumbled up. I can't even barely talk because I'm so starstruck by the person that I have with me here today, joining me on the live stream. I can't tell you how excited I am about this because this is a guy that I have admired and I have appreciated for a very long time. And I've been wanting to do something like this with him for a very long time, and it's just never really happened. And I don't even know why. Maybe he can explain why. Maybe he's been avoiding me. I don't know. But I am talking about none other than Sean Peck. You may know him as PeckTec, probably the most unique aquarium YouTube channel on the internet. And I say that in a very complimentary way. I don't mean to say that as in some kind of a weird way. This guy, he does it completely differently than any of us do it. And it's one of the most entertaining channels to watch on the internet. And that's just me being honest. I'm not saying that because he's my friend. I'm saying that because I believe it from the bottom of my heart. Now, before I bring Sean in, if you're watching this live, you can see him right there. But before I bring him in, I do want to talk about a couple of things real quick. Last week, if you watched the live stream, you know it was an abomination. It was a nightmare because we had so many people watching it live and asking questions. It got completely out of control, and I couldn't keep up. And then people started getting mad at me and all of that. So the way Sean and I are going to do it today is going to be a little bit different, and I think it's going to go a lot more smoothly. I think we're going to have a whole lot more fun with it. And Sean and I, it's kind of hard to frustrate or piss off Sean because he's just a pretty laid-back dude. But we won't get frustrated. We'll be able to have a whole lot more fun. So there you go. I'm not going to say what I was about to say because I hate when people say that. Without waiting any longer, Sean, please unmute yourself. Say hello to everybody. We got 96 people in here already wanting to see you.
Wow.
I'm talking about it. Yep.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's good to meet you.
Now, we were talking before I started this. This is the first one of these that you've done, correct?
Yeah, I don't think I've done one like this. Well, I did do one interview, but I don't think we didn't use the same technology. So this seems a lot nicer.
Okay, cool. Well, my internet has been completely screwy the last couple of days, so hopefully it doesn't stay that way. Hopefully we have no problems here. I know there was a couple of times when we were talking before we started the broadcast here where we were going and we could barely hear each other. But hopefully it doesn't. Yeah,
and if we get cut off, the best thing to do would be just go back to YouTube and wait just a minute, and I'm sure that we can start it up again. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if it does become a problem, it's just gonna, the people that are watching it, it's just gonna buffer for them. For us, it'll probably say interruption. I don't know. I've never had it happen in one of these, so there you go. So you're getting some hola amigos. Hello from Norway. Hello PeckTec. Hey PeckTec. Good evening from Texas. Lots of people saying hi to you. Everybody's excited. 105 people already in the first 5 minutes of the live stream. One of my moderators would have to verify this, but I think the biggest number we got to last week was something like 200 and I don't know, 200 and something. So if we pass that today, you'll be the one that holds the record. It's your star power on this show that has brought all of these people onto here. So very exciting.
And do you have a Mr. Inquisitive Fish guy out there?
He is in there. He is one of my moderators. That's a good dude.
Tell him I said peace.
Yeah, he's never heard that before, I'm sure.
I love that guy.
I do too. He's a good dude. So, all right. So this is what I want to do. First thing, you know, you have a rather large channel, but there might be people that are in here right now that have never heard of you, or there's going to be people that when they watch it on the replay, a lot more people are going to watch it on the replay than people who watch it live. That's just the way it works. So I want you to take a couple of minutes, or as long as you want, actually, and introduce yourself. Tell, talk to me as if I don't know you already, and talk to me as if I haven't shared a hotel room and listened to you snore for 2 days straight. Act as if I don't know you, and introduce yourself to my audience here today.
Well, one, John, you'll be happy to know I have a CPAP now, so I'm a very quiet roommate. I'm sorry that I didn't. God. And at least a little bit of it was being really embarrassed.
I'm busting your chops. It was a pleasure.
No, you see, because when we made that reservation, I said I snore like, I used bad words. I didn't say I snore like a little lamb. I said I snore like a large bull.
Well, and you know what?
To paraphrase.
We did a lot that first night. We had a good time. It's not like we went out partying, but when we were up late, I was kind of riled up because I had just gone to the show that day. And so it was hard to get to sleep already. I'm already kind of a light sleeper. And then I had to lay there, and you fell right asleep. As soon as we turned the lights off, boom, he's out. And whew, that was torture.
I get so little sleep, it's like it just instantly wants to go.
God bless your wife. I tell you what, whew, I don't know how she does it. So, all right. Well, so let's move past that.
Okay. We sidetracked. Okay, my channel's it's a little different because I kind of approach things. I'm very much a fish hobbyist. I've never owned a fish store. I don't consider myself to be an expert in a great deal of things. I mean, I've done stuff for a really long time, and I think I've got some advice to give and some stories to tell. But I decided to, anybody can open a box and kind of like show you what's inside of it. And if that was what I was going to do, I wanted to kind of put a story in there and kind of just expand what I could do with this YouTube channel, and I love that people want to see the fish stuff because I love fish and I love aquariums and that sort of thing. But last year I kind of got in this tangent where I wanted to make the most complicated videos possible. And I think I probably nearly gave myself a heart attack trying to do one of those every week. But it was a really, really good time, and that's a story that's going to continue on very soon. Very soon. I've got some collaborations. But what I'm going to use it for now is more of a tool, and I'm speaking, of course, about my clones. They're somewhere in a spaceship inside of here. But the clones will come back, but more as a tool, like a storytelling device or a device to do interviews with people that I wouldn't normally get to see, kind of like we're doing now. And my thing, I try to always take a new take on things that I see a lot. So it's like when I do an unboxing, if I get a lot of a very similar product, what I'll do is I try to approach it from a new way each time I do it. And I spend probably way too much time for YouTube. Spend a lot of time on like editing and sound and all the stupid stuff that really doesn't make you a successful YouTube channel at all.
But you know what? It shows. I mean, it really does. And let me tell you something, folks. We joke around about when we were in Chicago. This man, I can say it. He's more dedicated than I am. I mean, I was in Chicago, first time in my life being in Chicago. I don't know if it was your first time, but the hotel room, the second night that we were there, the Saturday night, we go out to get Chicago style pizza, which was a blast. Joey and Rachel and all of them were texting saying, hey, we're going to this place and all of that. And you and I, being old men, we decided not to go. But this dude was in the hotel room that night editing videos on his laptop because he wanted to make sure he got up a video the next day where I was like, I'll get it when I get it. I mean, but nobody cares about a YouTube channel more than I do. I mean, but I'm going to, I was there to enjoy myself. It was my first time seeing you in person. Of course, we knew each other, but the first time actually being face to face with you. And you know what? The dude sits down on the couch in the hotel room, very nice hotel room, and he starts banging away at Final Cut Pro. I was impressed by that, and kind of made me feel a little bit like a schmuck. So, but I want to ask you this, because you brought up the clones, and I was going to ask you about the clones anyway. Where in the world did the concept of the clones come from? And am I talking with Sean tonight, or is this one of the clones, or where are they all where are they? Come on.
Well, there's one roaming the country that I have no idea where he is. He just comes back every now and then, roaming clone. He just shows up places. Usually I send him to conventions and stuff, but he's having all the fun, and I think I'm due to have a little fun of my own. And the rest of the clones are all trapped in a spaceship in here. Well, they're not trapped. They can kind of come and go, but they pretty much, they got cable in there and Wi-Fi. And they don't have to pee while they're in there, and they just love it. I occasionally, if you look really close in some of my videos, occasionally you'll see them kind of pass by in the aquariums behind me. Just saying. Yeah,
I have noticed that in the end cards. I've noticed that the aquarium with the pee in it, and they kind of swim by. And I don't mean the urine. I mean the letter P. So yeah, that's really cool. So, but where did the idea to do the clones come from? I mean, I know you are, and I mean this in absolutely the most complimentary way. I'm serious. One of the most creative, or probably the most creative mind on YouTube as far as the aquarium channels go. I mean, the majority of your videos is aquarium stuff. You've got some steampunk stuff on there, and now you're doing drone stuff and all that, which is awesome. It's really cool. But your mind, I'd love to see into that thing every once in a while and have half the creativity that you do. But where did the concept of the clones come from?
I am a really, really huge and devoted Wheezy Waiter fan, and I became mildly obsessed with his videos for a long, long time. And I was like, God, I really want to meet him. I wanted to meet him really super bad. So I was like, I'll make a video that's like kind of like that. And the premise of the video will be that I broke into his house and stole his cloning machine and made a bunch of clones and brought them home with me. And that's it was at a time where I was kind of struggling with some new ideas for videos and stuff. So the whole video was about brainstorming ideas with these clones that I've just stolen from Wheezy Waiter, basically. So what I did is I took his fiction, I applied it to myself, and then from there I just imagined what would happen if, like, a Wheezy Waiter, he makes all his clones jump in an alligator pit, and he kills them. Like, every day he kills all his clones, and then he starts over the next day, as far as I could tell from his videos. So mine just never die. So if you don't kill your clones, what do they do? So I started with that premise, and then I've got a science fiction story that I've kind of always thought would be really interesting. So I just decided to blend. Oh, there was a contest that came up from Aquatisy. He had just gotten to like 2,000 subs or something like that, and wanted to do a sci-fi aquarium contest. I was like, well, shit, I'm halfway there. So it's because it's kind of a sci-fi show anyway with clones. Ooh, I just kicked water everywhere. And anyway, so I made another little short, and it kind of pushed the story along a little bit more. And then from there, I just kind of messed with it. And my finale last year was the Christmas special called The Exit, where, I had been trapped inside of this the spaceship for months. You didn't even meet me. You met Roaming Clone. That's who snores.
I knew it wasn't the real guy.
No. See, I was trapped, but I kind of lived vicariously through these guys. I feel like it was me there. I have this real bad continuity issue also. Nice. I just kind of forget. Oh yeah, about him. Anyway, to make a long story short, I just wanted to tell a story. I wanted to tell a fairly long and intricate story, intermixed with learning about aquariums and that sort of thing. And I kind of imagined it like I don't know, like kind of a Discovery Channel special or something like that. Where the real reason, though, the real thing is that trying to collaborate with people can be difficult. Even people who really like each other, right? So the easiest way to do that is to be all those people.
Nice. I never really considered that as an option. I should have thought of that.
If you want to co-host, be the co-host.
Right. No, that's brilliant. Absolutely. I mean, you just opened up a can of worms there. I know what you're talking about as far as collaborating and stuff like that. It is difficult, and it could be because people are busy or whatever it is, and it's hard. I mean, a lot of times when you're friends with somebody on YouTube, there could be, you and I live in the same time zone because we're only one state away from each other, but
right.
You get Joey, he's in another time zone, and I could go through the whole list of people, and it's hard. I mean, people have lives, they have children, they have wives, and so yeah, it is hard. So maybe if I could just clone myself and make the clone of myself be an expert in saltwater aquariums, man, I'd be gold. That'd be awesome.
That's what everybody says. Pretty soon they're going to work for you and then messing things up there, and or getting you into stuff you don't want to be in. Then you show up at work and suddenly you're the asshole at work. I got a really sucky bonus because of Charlie, but I forgave him. Sucky bonus.
Nice.
Thanks, Charlie.
Well, and I don't know if I ever formally thanked you for my Ant-Man poster. I know I thanked you in person, but formally with everybody watching, I wanted to do that because that is literally, as silly as it may seem, that's become one of my prized possessions. I absolutely love that poster. I'm a superhero nut and a freak and everything else, and that couldn't be the coolest. It couldn't be cooler than that, just a little teeny Ant-Man. I love it. So thank you for that. We've got it framed up on the wall and everything now. So I've shown
I'm really glad you like it. I'm really glad you like it. I'm a poster nut. I love posters. I just brought a really rare one home not too long ago. There's only 500 made. Do you want to see it?
You bet, of course.
I'll be right back.
So while Sean goes to get his new poster, this is how it went when we were in Chicago. Him and I are both movie nuts, so let's switch over to him. Well, he's gonna have to start talking.
I think technically there's a nipple in here. This is a
nice.
You know this movie?
Do I know what?
Do you know this movie? I wish it said the name. It'd be a lot easier to remember. I'm so proud of it. I don't remember the name of it. I see that remake.
What is that, Daniel Craig?
Yeah, but this is, you can't really tell. This is aluminum, and it's a razor blade.
Oh, hello.
But
it's a big razor blade. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's a big, huge razor blade. It's made of aluminum, and yeah.
That is cool. I don't know what the movie is, but it's a cool poster or a cool sign or whatever it is you want to call it.
Yeah. I guess awesome. It is kind of a sign. But yeah, it's a movie poster. It was next to the dumpster.
Oh, nice. Well,
I Googled it. I was like, oh my God, there's a whole movie about how they made it. I'll send you the link.
I'm still waiting on my Goodfellas poster to show up. I don't know if it got lost in the mail when you sent it or what. I don't know, but let's move on.
Yes,
let's move on from all of that because we're supposed to talk about fish, and we start deviating too far, then people tend to get upset. So you have a lot of tanks. I think you and I have the same number of tanks, but yours are or last I talked to you, they're spread all out throughout the whole house. Talk about what it is that you have. I think all of your tanks are planted. So give us kind of a quick rundown of what it is that you have, and then, sizes and stuff like that.
All right. So as far as specs go, I've got 2 5-gallon specs. One's new, one's old. I've got the 2.6 gallon. I've got 2 of those 2.6 gallon specs. One's old, one's new. I've got 2 fluval floras. One's at work. One's behind me over here. I've got 2 55s. One's behind me, and I've got another one downstairs. I've got a 30-gallon, a 27-gallon cube, a 56-gallon. I'm missing one. Oh, I've got a 10-gallon, and I've got a little secret Wabikusa project over here that's like tiny. I don't even, a half-gallon maybe.
Nice. Like that little
living
teeny
in
one we
that
saw.
plants.
Do you remember the little teeny tank we saw in Chicago, the saltwater tank? Remember that little teeny tank?
Yeah,
Nice.
that thing was crazy. That was really neat. It was like 2 gallons.
But it had a giant filter on the back. But the filter was bigger than the tank itself. That was really neat.
I think with the filter it was 7 gallons.
Yeah.
2 gallons of aquarium area and then another 5 gallons of just filter.
So if you all see what's going on in Sean's hand right now, don't think that the only reason I'm having him on is because he is also a vapor. This is not a vaping show. This is
Vape Nation.
not like that at all. I didn't even know that about him until we actually met. So that was really cool. So you kind of, planted tanks are your thing. Are there any particular like fish that you gravitate to, or do you just really like the nano stuff, or what kind of fish are you into?
I like tiny fish. I like as small a fish as possible. I like schools of fish, if I'm going to be real specific. So I've always loved rummy nose because I love the way they move together. And because I never had room for a bigger tank, or I never kind of graduated above 56 gallons, because of that, I've always had to keep smaller fish. Like when I first got into the hobby, the big thing was I noticed this every time I go to look. I like that fish. When you look him up, he gets too big. I like that fish. I look him up, he gets too big. So I get like really psyched if, does it even get an inch long? Give me 20 of them. So I got really into like just hunting down just the smallest fish I could, but also kind of fill up the tank, but be humane at the same time. So
nice. Well, your tank
20 or 30 rummy nose are favorite fish to have, altogether.
Well, your tanks, every single tank I've seen of yours is absolutely gorgeous, including the one that's sitting behind you. And I'm not saying that to butter you up. They really are. They're kind of what they are what I'm trying to accomplish with this tank that nobody can see.
Tank.
Yeah, my secret tank. It's planted right now, and I want it to look like what you have there. It doesn't look like what you have right there, but it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really happy with it. So
it does look gorgeous. You guys are missing out. I saw it.
They're going to get to see it on Sunday when I put up that video. I'm going to try to put it up first thing. We're going to actually, Corey and I did like I guess you could call it an unboxing of all of the plants and talked about what each one was. And he gave me pointers on placement and, how to put them on. Almost all of the plants that he sent me were actually already mounted on wood, which is really nice because they're basically just plopping, You
fracking cheater.
Yeah, well, hey,
where was Corey? Where were you, Corey, when I did my take? I need you here with me.
It pays to have friends in low places. I told the guy, look, I don't know what I'm doing. Every single plant that I've ever had, I've killed. And how do I do it? And he suggested that we go that route. And by the looks of things, he was right, because they're doing really well after only being in the tank for a week and a half or so. They're doing really good. And even the bulbs that he sent me are starting to sprout. I don't know if that's what you call it, but they're starting to show life.
Oh, so you got those real curly ones?
No, I didn't.
Do you know what they look like when they're done?
No, I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, there's this one bulb that you can, I can't even pronounce the name. Like a hobbyist. See, I don't have to know Latin, right?
That's true.
I'm just a hobby. I'm not a guru, you know. But I planted this one plant that kind of went in with a bulb, and this is the way it is with plants in aquariums. You kind of you can do some research, and a lot of plants are very similar. But you can just buy a bunch of plants and try them out in your setup, and the ones that live, you'll have for years. And then your friends will have them, and it goes on and on. Like some of the Anubis that I have are the original Anubis that I bought, 8 or 9 years ago, just propagated and propagated. Almost every plant that I have that's Anubis in any of my tanks is all from the same plant.
Wow.
Which makes it really easy to identify. I have kind of 2 or 3 varieties of Anubis, and they just do really well. But my first planted tank was all random junk from Taiwan or something. I got it on eBay, like this bag of stuff from this guy that called me buddy. Hey, buddy! Like that's the way the email read. You could almost see a thumbs up in it. But it's like, enjoy these plants, buddy. So I put them all in, and the ones that died, I just didn't get any more of those.
Right.
And the ones that lived, did really well. And I just kind of kept going from there. And as time went on, and but that's the beginning of a planted tank. If you're lucky enough, like you, to have someone tell you, say, hey, I figured this will probably do really well, or maybe do a lot of research beforehand. But 9 or 10 years ago, research on the internet wasn't the same. There weren't a ton of YouTube channels. I learned most of my fish keeping stuff from Tom and Nevin on the Pet Fish Talk. Yeah, the Bailey brothers on Pet Fish Talk. I listen. I used to be a private investigator, and I would be on surveillance, and I would just listen to them because I'd have to sit there in my car and do nothing for hours at a time. So I just listened to the Bailey brothers for hours and hours and hours, and that's how I learned almost everything I know about, in the most basic sense about fish keeping.
Yeah, I missed that show. I listened to that show religiously too. I don't know if I ever caught one when it was actually recorded. I think that when I found that show, they had already quit doing it. And it's unfortunate because those guys are good. And they're, Nevin is a marine biologist, and Tom is just, these are guys that are brothers that have been almost like conjoined twins for 60 years.
They're an odd couple. Kind of. I put on. I don't think the skill level was like at Car Talk. You know what I mean? They have that kind of chummy, like. Sometimes it was annoying. Like he would try to talk over his brother. His brother's the marine biologist, and you really want to hear what he has to say. But the other brother just interrupted, talk all over the top of him and stuff. And it was, I don't know, it was kind of frustrating. But back then, there weren't a ton of podcasts like that.
Right.
And now, there's how many have there been nowadays? But
there used to be a really good one named Tank Talk, but the guy's not doing it anymore. It was a really good podcast too. I liked it. I listened to it every week.
It is a good podcast. I listen to it sometimes when I'm doing my water changes. I like it.
You listen to it now?
No, I listen to the old shows.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Well, there might be a time, might be a day when that comes back. Really? Oh, it might. Never know. It's one of those things that I've tossed around the idea. I absolutely love podcasting. I really enjoyed it. It was a blast. I mean, I don't know what more I can say about it. I loved doing it, but I ran out of stuff to talk about. I mean, that was the biggest thing. I mean, it does get to a point where there's nothing left to say.
That's another thing about YouTube and fish keeping and stuff. It's like you got 14 tanks, you'd think you'd have something to talk about all the time. But if your tanks are running well, you kind of don't. I mean, right. you get them set, and then they're supposed to kind of cruise for a while. And you don't want every other video to be, trim that plant.
That's right.
That's why I don't like, my update videos do pretty well, but I only do them every 6 months because I can't stand to see week after week of it's this much taller,
right.
Or, it's fun. It's cool to kind of graze over that or something, but I wouldn't want it to be the whole video. And that's kind of what it becomes if you got to get real creative with what you want to talk about if you don't have products or something to do.
Well, and that's why I thank the Lord that I have received some products recently, including that I can talk about, because I hit that same wall myself. I didn't have anything left to talk about. I mean, it was just like you can only do so many how to cycle an aquarium videos, and I don't have 1/10 the creativity that you do, so I can't clone myself and do. I use the same software that you do, but I can't do all of that. It's like when I hit that wall, everything just completely shuts down. I would almost rather put nothing out than put up garbage. I don't want to, like you said, I did a water change today. Here's my tank. Take a look at it. Woohoo. Come on. I mean, nobody cares if I just did a water change. So I don't know. Well, I mean, it's a struggle.
I've started putting more and more of like I started this. I've always vlogged. I'll put it that way. I've done that since I started YouTube. There's been little moments like that, or videos that aren't about fish at all, that are just about me doing stuff I like to do. So, but I started doing that more regularly because I really started enjoying those videos myself. So I enjoy like Casey Neistat and I think Sean Duras is another guy, and a couple of other people that I just think are really fascinating. I admire the dedication. Nobody does it better than Casey does. He gets away with murder, I think. Like,
and that's another one. I watch him, and I just sit there and shake my head like I don't know how he does it. Because if you watch his videos, example, I watched you sent me the link, the motorized skateboard thing that he was going around.
Yeah. The boosted board,
this dude, the planning in something like that, and the way he sets up his shots and stuff, like I don't know. That guy can make a trip to the store to buy a loaf of bread something that's completely entertaining. I don't have that. I don't. I mean, I'm just a guy. I don't have that level of creativity. So,
well, your life has to be. I think to daily vlog, your life has to be pretty damn interesting. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to see PeckTec going, I'm going to work again. It's about a half an hour and the traffic sucks.
Yep.
Anybody want to listen to some Bee Gees? I got a lot of Bee Gees.
But if you were Casey Neistat, you would do that and you would make it thoroughly entertaining. I remember watching a video of his, and Lisa and I were having a conversation. We do this all the time. Yeah, we have conversations. And we were talking.
That's good.
We were talking about videos, and I wasn't talking about vlogging or anything like that, but I was just talking about YouTubers in general. And I brought him up, and she had never heard of him. And I said, you don't know him, the guy that looks like Sean Penn that wears the glasses? She said, no, I've never seen him. I said, okay. Well, I put on one of his videos, and it was him and his wife and his little baby flying somewhere. I don't know, going on a plane and flying. And the whole video was them leaving the apartment and then getting to the hotel, wherever it was that they were going. And we watched the whole damn thing. And at the end, it was like 20 minutes long. At the end, I turned to Lisa and I said, do you realize we just watched 20 minutes of nothing? And we were thoroughly entertained the whole time. And she was like, yeah, it was really good. And I said, that's what I need. I need that kind of creativity, and it just doesn't exist. Not in this brain right here. I don't know. I don't know why it's not there.
He does it so simply and perfectly. I mean, it's just like I'd never seen one. I saw one the day after I got back from Chicago. No, it wasn't. It was the next thing I went to, the big fish deal. I saw it right after the big fish deal, and I just tried to do something similar to that at the big fish deal, based off, who was it? The Shaytards. Okay. I wanted to go to VidCon really, really bad. I thought that would be a really fun thing to do, but it's so far away and kind of expensive. So, of course we didn't do it. So I started watching the Shaytards because they were at VidCon and they were kind of daily vlogging from there. It's like, oh, I can kind of see what it's like, but they're like major celebrities. So it was really the wrong thing to watch. It's like, ooh, that would be cool to go on stage and because you don't ever think about that when you're alone in your bonus room or basement or whatever. cutting these videos together and talking about fish and aquariums and stuff like that. But they don't talk about fish and aquariums. Maybe that's why they've got a crowd.
Yeah.
But you know, I was watching that, and I was like, I want to try a daily vlog. So I went to the Big Fish Deal on a sort of daily vlog, and I did them on my phone, and then I uploaded it. You know, instead of like a while ago, I tried to do it on the computer, and it was kind of a hassle. So I did this completely on my phone, and I uploaded from there. I did it one a day, you know, every day, and it was hard. It was super hard. And then I was like, who else daily vlogs? What's the best daily vlogger? And I came across Casey, and he changed the way I view making videos altogether. I mean, just in a huge way. What a terrific influence.
He's brilliant. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know that I'll ever possess 1/100th of the talent that guy has. I mean, and you know, the coolest thing about it is he's become. Are we literally sitting here doing a whole live stream about Casey Neistat? But he's become kind of a larger than life kind of guy. Everybody knows him, the sunglasses and all of that. But if you watch some of his older stuff, this was just a dude just like me and you, and he just found something that he was really good at, and for whatever reason, people were interested in it, and good for him. I mean, he's done a really good job. But I want to get off of all that kind of stuff because
hey, you know, I got something to show you if you guys want to see it. It's fishy related. So we were talking about conventions, and I just went to the ACA convention last.
Oh no, the feed froze. I wonder if that's just you. Oh, there you are. Now you're back, I think. Nope. I'm not hearing you. Hopefully everybody stays with us here. Here we go again. This is what happened last time. Let's see here. You're still registering on the feed, Sean, but you are not coming through. Don't panic. It's okay. Give it a second. You'll come back through. You just tried to peek back in, and it didn't. Oh, are you coming back to us? I love the internet. The internet is such a beautiful thing, and I don't know if it's on my end this time or his end or what. I keep hearing his voice go bleh, but that's all I hear. Stay with us, folks. Don't go anywhere. 121 people watching. Don't leave us yet. I know I'm only going to tolerate this for a little while, and then I'm going to start getting mad myself. Oh, boy. Here we are. Sean's still not back with us. Well, I guess I've got a little bit of dead air to fill there, huh? All right. Well, I'm actually looking forward to whatever Sean has in that goodie bag. He mentioned something about it when we were talking before we started this, and I was like, yeah, that'd be really cool, so do that. But now he's completely frozen, so I don't know what's going on there. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to, oh, here he is. He's back. Let's see. You back with us, Sean? No. Not hearing you, dude. So this is a good time while Sean tries to figure this out. This is a good time for me to talk about Q&A. Last week, if you recall, it was a disaster. I know I touched on this in the beginning, but I've got time to fill here. So it was a nightmare because all of the questions were coming through, and they were coming through so fast. We had over 200 people in here. They were coming through so fast, I couldn't keep up with them. I don't answer questions just one or two words. I mean, I go in depth when I answer questions. I explain why I answer questions or why I feel the way I do about something. And it just got out of control. And there were people getting angry with me because I wasn't answering their questions and all of that. And so I basically said, look, here's what you're going to do. If you want a question answered in this today, July 14th broadcast, put your question on the replay of last week's video. And there was a couple of people that did that. And one of them was a guy. This guy was actually nice enough to ask a couple of questions. And the first thing he said, he's actually going to feel really bad for saying, because I'm going to read it right now. And it says, John, Don't you think answering questions from the comments takes away from the point of a live feed? Just a thought, but either way, excited you're putting out more content. No, I don't think it is, because if I did that every week, it probably would be bad. But if we've got a guest on here, if I'm entertaining somebody else and we're having conversation like Sean and I are, then no, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think him and I can talk, or whoever the guest is. Next week is going to be CJ from CJ's Aquariums. He's going to come in and educate me on my saltwater tank and all of that. Really excited for that. You know, if I'm answering questions from this week's broadcast, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, and it helps me to not get backed up and get yelled at like I did last week. So now each week, if there is time to kill, I might go ahead and go to the comments and, pull out a question or two. But, you know, we'll just have to see how it goes. There he is. Are you back with me, Sean? The man is trying, and I don't know if it's me. I mean, I'm able to do what I got to do here. I'm live, Sean, so I think the problem might be on your end. I don't really know, but hopefully you're doing all right. Anybody watch the news? There wasn't any earthquakes or anything, was there? Is Sean okay? So I see Scuba Steve has been very active today. He's answering some people's questions. He's helping this guy right here out. I've also got my good friend IFG, the Inquisitive Fish Guy, has been feeding me some questions. I want to thank him very, very much for that. Now I just need to find them, because I moved my windows around and Lord only knows where I put it. There it is. He's been feeding me some questions, and one of them that he fed me was how many fish can I put in and I said, not answering that question, because I don't want to get into any kind of stuff like that. So here we go. We got a breeding question. This is from the comments today, and this is provided to me by IFG. Thank you again, IFG. Rob's Mbuna, I guess, is the name of the channel that asked this question. I have a yellow lab that just released fry, like literally just now. She's in a 10-gallon, and I have a breeder box. Should I separate the fry right away? The answer is no. You absolutely don't. Let me do something here real quick before I... This is frustrating. Sean, you're not with me, are you? I don't know if we lost Sean for good or what. Sean, if you can see this... Here, I'll tell you what. Let me do this. I'm going to text him real quick. This is really professional, isn't it? Okay. I don't know where. Really? I don't know. Okay, let me answer Rob's Mbuna's question, if I haven't lost most of the audience by now. The answer to the question is no, absolutely not. You should not separate the fry, because Mbunas, and all African cichlids for that matter, rear their young. They raise their young. Let the mother be a parent, unless there's other fish in the tank, which I'm guessing there's not, because it's a 10-gallon, and you would be a bad person if you had a bunch of African cichlids in a 10-gallon tank. You're not a bad person. You're just making a mistake there. Not a big deal. I'm assuming you have this fish in a 10-gallon because she was holding. You wanted to use that as kind of like a nursery. I'm swapping that work. Okay. I don't know. Sean's trying. He's trying to come back on here, folks. Okay. He said 1 second. He'll be back on. Good. So, no, the whole thing with African cichlid fry, or African cichlid breeding in general, the only reason you would separate the fry from the mother is if you're doing this as a business and you want the mother to spawn faster. Because as soon as you take her away from those fry, the maternal instincts just immediately leave her mind, and she starts going through the process of thinking about wanting to spawn again. And she may spawn that second time, or spawn again faster, if you take her away from the fry. If you leave her with the fry, she's actually going to mother the fry. And it's adorable. It's really cool. She may take them back into her mouth, when she gets spooked, something happens and freaks her out, she'll summon somehow. I don't know. It's the coolest thing ever to watch. And they will all just go and go right back into her mouth. It's really, really neat to see that. But that is her protecting her young. And it's really neat to see that. No, don't separate them until the fry are free swimming. They're aggressively chasing after food. They are their own little fish swimming around, and they're no longer huddling around mama or anything like that. They're not hanging out on the bottom of the tank anymore. They're not scared or timid. They're swimming around and they're free swimming. Then you can take the mother out. Don't do it right away. It's not going to hurt the fry if you do, but it's really cool to watch. It's really cool to let nature take its course and let it happen. Now, I will warn you about one more thing. If there is still that orange belly underneath the fish, do not remove the mother, because what's going to happen is they're not done cooking yet. And so she's probably going to pull them back in for a few more days. That orange belly is the egg sac that the fish has been consuming. And that's where the fish receives all of its nutrients and everything it needs to grow. So if that's not completely gone yet, they're not ready to be released from the mother. And she'll realize that and she'll pull them back in. So the answer to your question is no, don't pull them out. And see, this is why this happens. This is why I get behind on my questions, because I don't just say, no, don't pull the fry out and then move on to the next question. That would be wrong. You're not tuning into this to see me say yes and no answers. So there we go. Now, still no Sean. He's working on it diligently, though. My dog is upstairs. She's making her presence known. Let me just make sure Sean has not emailed me, and he has not. Okay, so I'm going to go back to these questions here. This is from Duck4, the number 4, CVR is his name. John, since you also enjoy woodworking, have you ever considered making/DIYing a plywood tank? Something big enough for those dream silver arowanas and stingrays. I'd love to see your take on building one. Let me just tell you that this tank right here is a fantasy tank. I mean, it really is. I love it. And I consider myself so lucky and fortunate to have that tank. But doing exactly what you just asked me, or what you asked me on last week's video, I hope you're watching this, that is literally my dream, to do that. To have the space, whether it be in a basement like this. We're renting this house, so I'm not doing it down here. But having a home that we own, or a home that we own that has an unfinished basement or a garage or something, that's my dream, to actually build like a 10-foot tank. When I say my dream, I've literally dreamt of this. So the answer to your question is absolutely every day of the week. I think about doing something like that, but it's been something that I'm not going to do in a rental property. I mean, I was hesitant to get this because Lisa and I are hoping to buy a house this coming spring or maybe next summer. And so, the thought of moving this thing scares me, but building, having that space that I could build a tank that large to accommodate a couple of silver arowanas. Yes, I would put more than one, and a couple, 2, 3, 4 stingrays, maybe a couple of different varieties of stingrays. That is my absolute dream. And someday it might happen. I'm 42. It hasn't happened yet, but hit a speed bump back in 2008 that kind of slowed things down as far as that goes. But hopefully that's something that I will do. And believe me, if I do that, you'll know, and you'll see every single aspect of that project. And to me, now I haven't done anything like this yet, because again, the whole time I've had my YouTube channel, I've been renting homes. I was separated from my ex back in early 2008, and I've been renting ever since then. I've had aquariums, but I have not had, Sean's having trouble getting back in. So I'm going to invite him I'm going to do this a different way. So I just haven't had the opportunity to do anything like that. And to combine my two favorite things, fish keeping and woodworking, that, I mean, come on. That would be one of my favorite things to do. But I just haven't done it because I haven't had anywhere to put it. So, all right, let me do this. Whoops. Here's what I'm going to do. I need to work on this here for a second, folks. And bear with me because I'm going to try to invite Sean back a different way. And it would help if I was on my appropriate YouTube channel. Where is PeckTec? Let me find him. I'm going to invite him rather than just sending him the link, and maybe that will help. Because I can't carry this on my own, Sean. I need you back. I need you back, Sean. All right. Sean, if you're watching this, I am going to send you an invite. And I don't know if it's going to come through your email or if it's going to come through your... Uh-oh. Huh. Well, let's see here. All right, invite sent, Sean. Hopefully that maybe that'll make a difference. I don't know. Is he in the chat here? Don't see him. So yeah, I hope that I'm able to get him back. Here I see his little logo, which is one of the coolest logos ever. It's some kind of steampunk thing, but it looks like he's in an aquarium. We didn't even get to talk to him about the good stuff. Oh boy. Well, maybe we are going to submit to the internet once again, and the internet is one more time going to ruin things for us. I don't know what to do, folks. I don't know how to get Sean back. I sure am trying. Yes, he does have a Mac, KG Cichlids, because he's smart. I haven't seen him post in here, so I don't know. That's unfortunate because Sean's such a good dude. He's so much fun. Going to grab my mod. Be right back. All right. Well, I guess we're not going to have Sean. Maybe he will join me again in this broadcast. You know, who knows? We'll have to see. So let's see if I can get another question. So Tyler Donovan asked, what fish do you guys, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Tyler, but it's just me. What do you guys suggest for a 75-gallon? Not how many, but what kind? I don't know if he put that on there or if Evan Alexander, or, excuse me, IFG put that on there because he asked me before about the yellow labs not the yellow labs, but he asked me about a how many question, and I told him I don't answer those, and so he said not how many, but what kind. What do I suggest for a 75-gallon? You've got a lot of options with a 75-gallon tank. If you're going to go with African cichlids, you can certainly go peacocks and haps. There are certain haps that I would stay away from, though, that are going to get way too big. I would stick with haps that stay about the same size as your peacocks and stuff like that. Some that come to mind immediately would be things like the Taiwan Reef, the Red Empress, which Red Empresses get pretty good size, but they don't get a whole lot bigger than peacocks do. The one that I have in there, you know, the Tangerine Tiger, things like that. The smaller haps, they're big fish, but they don't get huge like Livingstone, Ivanustus, you know, electric blue Alis. Keep it on the smaller side of your haps. Peacocks, of course, but the perfect African cichlid for a 75-gallon tank would be in Buenos. I mean, that's going to be the easiest way to go with it. But aside from cichlids, I mean, you've got a world of community fish available to you. Angels, we've got 8 angels in a 75-gallon tank, like right there upstairs. Angels are great for a 75-gallon tank because it's a pretty tall tank, deep. Fill it full of angels and maybe some community-style fish, tetras and things like that. Make yourself a beautiful tank. As far as the community section at your local fish store, the sky's the limit when it comes to 75 gallons. I mean, I don't know that there's really any that are going to get so big that you can't keep them in a 75. Stay away from your fish that you know are not going to fit in a 75-gallon tank. I mean, will an Oscar survive in a 75? Sure, of course he will. But is it the right thing to do? Maybe not. I would equate it to buying a Rottweiler and living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Is that horrible? No. I mean, it's not like it's too small of a house, but a big dog like that, and I shouldn't have said Rottweiler, any large dog breed, a big dog like that needs a yard, needs to be able to go out and run. And you know what? When that dog's a puppy, it's going to be cute to you, but you're going to get sick of walking the dog and taking the dog for long runs and stuff like that. So can a Rottweiler in a 1-bedroom apartment do fine and live a long, full, healthy life? Absolutely he can. But is it truly the right thing to do? You know what I mean? Same thing with these fish. If you put an Oscar in a 75, yeah, he'll live for quite a while, a full life. But is it really the right thing to do? I don't know. So KG Cichlids, the man thinks he has clout around here because he's an admin and everything. Ho, ho, ho. Let's see. Sean's trying to come. There he is. Hey, are you back?
Yeah, I had to change locations.
Oh, what'd you do? Go to your mom's house or something?
I think the laptop I had literally died. Like while we were talking, like it just went nuts, and there's no doing anything with it.
Well, look, dude, I got a lot of love for you, but I am not reimbursing you for a laptop because it happened on my show. I'm not doing that.
It's all your fault.
Oh my God, this was going so well.
I'm sorry.
I am very glad that you're back because this is something that I was looking forward to, and I know you were too. And we hadn't even really started talking fish yet, so
I know. Yeah.
I'm definitely glad you made it back in. Did you bring the bag of goodies down with you, or did you? Forget that?
Yeah. It's actually just right over here. I'll be right back.
Okay, this is going to be exciting. So Sean went to the ACA convention in Cincinnati, something that Lisa and I wanted to go to, and we couldn't get up there. And all of these conventions, when you go to them, as soon as you walk in the door, they give you a bag, and it's usually got a few things from the primary sponsors of the event. And then a lot of times, you'll gather more stuff as you're there and throw them all in. I don't know if that's the case here or if all of it was stuff that was in there when it was just a gimme.
Yeah, I am an optimist, but the bag's half empty.
Okay.
So I think the idea is to kind of provide you with a little shopping bag. But all their vendors throw cool stuff in here too. So let's see. Lots of fish food, of course. So we've got some, I didn't read that first. Spirulina. Got some fish food here. Let's go through that first. There's quite a bit of it.
What was the brand on that spirulina there? I don't know.
Zoomed.
Oh, okay.
You know them.
Yeah.
And Canocyclops. So I figured this is another Zoomed product. I figure that's probably got that Greek mythological creature in it. I just like to eat those guys, right? Right. Another spirulina thing. Cano bloodworms. I kind of like their advertising on that. Cano. Oh, it's kind of neat. It's got a little spoon on the top. That's kind of different.
Oh, that's adorable.
I've never seen a little tiny shovel sold with bloodworms. Got a lanyard because that's freaking awesome.
Because who doesn't want a lanyard?
Everybody needs a lanyard, right? You got a microfiber cloth in case you want to clean your aquarium with it.
Or your IMAX screen.
Or yeah. Ooh, that's a good idea. I'll put that over here. Got some advertisements and stuff. Got a sticker. Zoom Ed sent you a sticker to put on something. Got these like little feeder samples, I guess, for vacation feeders. Power sweep. That's kind of neat. A little power sweep thing. It's kind of heavy. Is this electric? Huh.
I mean, they put a lot of stuff in there. My goodness.
I know. I was kind of impressed.
I think at the Aquatic Experience, there was like a bottle. In fact, I think I still have it, like a 2 ml bottle of water conditioner and like a bunch of brochures. That was it.
Yeah. It was like, I think I just got a magazine. You got lucky with your bottle of conditioner. It's got this little bag of cobalt food, like tiny pellets.
All right.
I've never used any of that. I've gotten it before, but I've got a lot of fish food I haven't used. Most of the rest of this was little. They got like, I think this thick, of little magazines and pamphlets and that sort of thing. Got some more pellet food, and then one of these. These are kind of chintzy. I put them on. I have it on my 27-gallon tank, and it like when the water comes through, it makes it go back and forth. They call it an aqua sweep. It's another Zoom Ed product, and they work for about, I guess, 3 months, and then they stick.
Nice.
But I've had 2 of them, so now I can swap it out again. I got another 3 months ahead of me of sweeping aquaticness.
Well, WD-40 is perfectly fine to spray into an aquarium, isn't it? To just lubricate it up so that it starts working again?
I kind of doubt it.
Folks, that was a joke. Please do not ever spray WD-40 anywhere near your aquarium. That was a joke.
Oh, look at all this stuff. Oh, there's just like the Tetra clips. I could like make it rain with Tetra chips.
Whoa, look at this guy. Look at that. That's a high roller right there. I should
give this crap away or something. I do giveaways and contests sometimes, or I've tried on my channel, but no one participates.
I did a giveaway recently, and I felt like such a jerk because I did a video for the Aquarium circulation pump and air pump. I don't know if you happen to see it. I'm not offended if you didn't. And they sent me 2 extras to give away or keep, whatever. I don't know. There was a duplicate, so I assumed that they were giveaways. So I did a giveaway, and it was fantastic. It worked really well. I didn't do any kind of contest or anything. All anybody had to do was comment with a hashtag. And so a week or 2 weeks later, I don't remember what it was, I picked the 2 winners through a randomizer on the internet. And I contacted them, and they were excited. They were like, wow, I've never won anything. That's so cool. And I took them, I put them in the Postal Service boxes. I put them by the door because my mind, I have to do things like that. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. Well,
Right.
One of the kids covered it up with like a towel or something. And so, of course, I didn't see them. And they sat there for like a week and a half. I felt like such a jerk. I just completely forgot about them. But one day the towel got moved, and there they were. And I was like, oh, so I sent them. But they have them now, and I think they're happy. So, but I felt like such a jerk for that. It's the first time I've given anything away on this channel.
You
And I
jerk.
screwed it up. I know. It's terrible. Horrible.
Well, I need to do some kind of prize. And I keep having these milestones kind of go by, and I'll tweet about it or something. Yeah. Woo, 13,000 subscribers. That was my last big one. But I think when I get to 200,000 subscribers, I'm going to do something huge. I want to do something really nice for one lucky subscriber. It could be you.
Hey,
You out there
I
somewhere.
will be rooting for you, my friend. And when Joey did his, he's hitting these milestones, and good for him. He deserves it. I'm proud of him. He's definitely put in the work. But when he's doing these milestone videos that are 100,000, and then it seems like 3 months later he's hitting 200,000, kind of makes it cheesy to do a 40,000 subscriber video or 15,000 or something. It's like I don't know that it adds up.
Well, I still remember vividly hitting 1,000 subscribers, and someone just made a comment. Like, I hadn't been watching, like paying attention, and somebody just made a comment, "Hey, I'm your 1,000th subscriber." And in fact, that's how I get notified every time it turns over. Somebody go, "I'm 13,"
Yep.
But yeah, and I was like, wow, 1,000 people went,
Isn't that something?
It doesn't really get it's a good, really personal satisfaction every time you kind of click over another, digit, especially. So, yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
real
if
proud.
you're.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please keep going. You're the
I'm
guest here.
proud. I was going to say I'm really proud of Joey. I mean, man, I think he's the first one of us to go get a silver play button for YouTube. Is that right?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Joey is the first at pretty much every statistic that's recorded by YouTube. I mean, Joey's killing it. I mean, he has been since I started on YouTube back in 2011. I mean, he's been doing his thing. He's been the guy that's kind of setting the mark for, what we all aspire to be.
He's doing it right. I mean, he's got a really clear focus approach to what he very clearly knows what he wants to do. There's no question about what's going to go on there. Like a lot of my channels based on sort of this WTF, what's this crazy thing he's doing this week. And that's my style, but it is not nearly as successful as exactly what it was like. Oh, we're going to do a project, and he's got this formula, and it just works. It just works. And plus, he's a great host. He does a really good job. So I'm always proud to see one of our guys doing that well. And he's sort of paving the way for the rest of us. I think the pet channels in general will get bigger and bigger because TV is really starting to suck. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some cool shows. You and I are fanboys of a lot of different shows, but I watch almost as much YouTube as I do TV. Probably more YouTube than TV anymore.
There was a new show that premiered on HBO last weekend called The Night Of, and it was something that I'd seen trailers for and I was really excited for. And I went up into my living room. Lisa and I sat in there and watched it. And when we pushed play on it, because of course we DVR'd it, I told her, I said, I don't remember the last time I sat here and watched television. I mean, and it's not because I'm this busy guy, I'm always running around. I'm down here and I'm messing around on the computer, or I'm watching YouTube, or I'm editing videos. I mean, it's you blink your eyes and 3 months goes by and your DVR's full and you're like, what has been happening here? It's crazy.
I know. And I don't know about you, but I mean, I get home, I pretty much am always in production for the next video. I've always got the next, and there's a lot of pressure. When you decide you're going to be weekly and you just stick to it, there's so much pressure to really have another idea and another idea and another idea and just keep it quality. That is so hard to do. And
it really is. And let me remind you, I've got two. So trust me. Yeah, I know. I mean, my other channel is doing really well. And it's something I do that one just for fun. It's just to have a good time. But I agree, it is. I mean, and with that channel, I've got people pressuring me to do stuff because they've sent me products and they're like, hey, we sent you a product a week ago. How come you haven't done a review? So
all you got to do is smoke it. You're doing that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough, but I've explained this to so many people and I'm sure you feel the same way. Fish keeping is my lifestyle. Making videos is my hobby. And this is why I go so far down. I get so low when I run out of content, when I don't have anything else to talk about. I really do get to a place where, like a depression. I mean, it really bothers me because it's what I love to do. It's a golfer on a rainy day or, during a lightning storm. It's like, oh my God, I want to play golf so bad, but I can't because there's lightning. That's how it feels for me. And, I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and cry a river or anything. I'm just saying I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I got there really, really fast. And so the clones kind of filled in. They filled in and made it interesting for me again, and hopefully a few other people. And if someone is entertained by something and maybe learns a little bit, maybe it'd be better. Like, I wish I could talk just pure science and stuff, but I fall asleep on videos like that. So I like to have weird things happen. And it keeps me making them week after week after week. I'm always exploring a new style though. And I think reinventing yourself time and again, like these live streams have really opened up a lot of avenues for you and Joey, and I don't know if you guys are just the only ones that pay attention to, or if there are a lot of other live streamers, but
I mean, I don't know of anybody else, and I'm certainly not trying to make the claim that I'm some kind of pioneer or anything like that, because I know I'm not. I don't know if anybody else is doing it on YouTube. I think there are a few people that are doing it on Facebook. I know Joey's. Right. I think Jay Wilson's doing some live streams on YouTube. Corey's doing them. And how dare I just say what I just said? Corey from Aquarium Co-op is doing live streams on YouTube, and he was doing them before I was. So if anybody's a pioneer, it's going to be him. But this isn't exactly a new thing, but YouTube is definitely making the technology a lot easier to where it's easier to do stuff like this.
Well, and the integration to the Facebook too. Like, I don't have much of an audience on Facebook. I've got quite a few people, but I don't have like, you know, a huge audience on Facebook. So I haven't even really bothered trying to do live streams on there. I've done one or two. I tend to ramble. I really miss being edited. But I tend to ramble on live streams and stuff. So I've done a couple of them, but they seem so long. And then I don't think people are watching them after they're done a whole lot. Like, I think some people do. And I'll leave them up in case they want to, but I prefer seeing myself edited. So
it is a whole different source of pressure to do it live. But you know what? We're getting too much into just two dudes having a conversation here. Let's talk a little bit about fish again, because you know the numbers going down, and that bothers me because people are like, Sean and John, they aren't talking about anything. So let's get into something. What kind? Here's a good one. All right. Since you have as many tanks as you do that are planted tanks, and you know what I've done, you're one of the few people that has seen the tank. What would your advice be to me, to the brand new, only had plants in a tank for a week? What would your advice be to someone like me who's just literally put their first plants in the tank?
Give them several weeks before you judge their condition. They will look good. Mine generally, no matter what the outcome will be, they look good for about 4 or 5 days. And then things start to happen. And a lot of times they'll melt. You know, the leaves will melt away or something. They start to look a little bit awful. But you got to weather through that part and then kind of get into the part where those leaves grow back. See, once you take a plant and you put it into an aquarium, the leaves that are on it were perfectly adjusted for whatever scenario they were in before. So if they were grown immersed, let's say, or submerged but with a different type of light or amount of CO2, those leaves will have to they'll survive on the ones they made originally, but they'll have to grow new ones, and those new ones will be perfect for your aquarium and their environment. They'll be more well suited for whatever environment you've provided for them. So you really have to give your plant several weeks before you make a call on, oh, that's not working out or that is working out. So just like with fish and all the other stuff, patience is just a huge part of it. Sometimes you're rewarded really, really early. Like the dirted tank I just made, I gotta tell you, I was super skeptical about a dirted aquarium, and I was shocked at the level of growth that I got. I mean, it was just like within 2 or 3 days, I saw runners going for things,
wow. Things
that I couldn't grow. No matter how much light I put on it, no matter how much CO2 I put on it, they just would not grow in my aquarium at all. And but this, I don't know, the magic of the dirt or whatever, it really was a perfect combination. Now I'm gonna have to trim stuff out, and it hasn't even been up for just a couple of months, and I'm already like, I'm gonna have to whack all that back. It's about to take over. So I couldn't be more thrilled with that. Now I don't know if I'll do it for every aquarium, because I have a feeling this next stage is where it's gonna suck. Because when I go to pull one of those plants out, it's going to make a huge mess.
Oh, it's going to be a big dirt plume.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to look great after that or not. But I tell you, at least in the initial stages, it's got to be probably it's definitely the most successful short-term tank that I've had. And long-term, of course, is we're not there yet. But I've never seen anything take off quite this quick with no CO2 and no additives. Like, I haven't added anything to it. No, I want at the big fish deal, I won this big box of Seachem stuff, like all the really super fancy Seachem additives. I haven't used a one. I bought them to use on this tank, so I thought maybe I'll add these supplements. I haven't put anything in there, and it's growing faster than I can keep up with it. So,
wow. Well, mine have not started to melt back yet, like you said. And I think that maybe, Corey was talking about how he converts the plants because they're grown on the farm out of the water. And then, he puts them in his tanks and kind of converts them to being underwater before he ships them out to customers. So they're used to it. I mean, I wish I could show them to everybody, but they're absolutely gorgeous. They're bright green. I mean, I've never, I'm big time into universal rocks. You know that. And
yeah.
I've had a relationship with them for years. Nothing transforms a tank like putting a background like that in it, except for this. I mean, it's like I didn't realize how boring my tank was until I put those plants in. And now it's like, oh my God, it's just like completely back to life again. The fish show better. The background doesn't look so bad anymore because all it is a black, dirty background. I took the Universal Rocks background out. I mean, it's unbelievable, the dramatic change just like that. I mean, instantaneously. And with the plants that he sent me being already attached to the blocks, I mean, it's
that makes it so much easier when they're already attached and stuff like that. It makes it a lot easier to place them and stuff.
One of the things that we did with one of those, which it could not have worked out better, we got this one piece from Corey that was already attached to a piece of driftwood, and it was in the shape of like an arrowhead. The wood was. The plant, it's an Anubias plant, one of the smaller ones, I don't know. Anubias, blah, 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 blah. So it starts with a C.
Yeah.
So we were moving them around and trying to decorate the tank, and this is all on video. I'm going to put it up this Sunday. There is a wishbone in the big giant piece of driftwood that I have in there, and it fit, this wedge of wood fit perfectly right into that wishbone. So it's almost like it was made to go into that spot. I just jammed it in there, and it looks perfect. I mean, it's beautiful. Rather than just setting it on the wood, it's like it's in there, and it looks like the plant is growing out of it. It's fantastic. I love it.
That's a lot of the fun, taking those plants and trying to figure out how you can jam them into the little nooks and crannies in your driftwood and that sort of thing. And it's a lost art. I've been wanting to try super glue. Apparently, you can super glue stuff and it'll stay. I don't understand how that works. I would think the moisture would mess it up, but I guess not, because I see people doing it all the time. I haven't tried it yet, but I've got some. I'm going to try it soon.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit scary to me too. Now let's shift gears here for a second, because my last live stream that I did was a lot about plants. My video that I did was about plants. When you were at the ACA over the weekend, you picked up a couple of new fish, and it's so ironic because somebody commented on last week's video. Let me see if I can find a person's name here, because it's appropriate to say whose name it was. And here it is. Sherry Daniels commented last week, "Can you talk about rams next time?" And then I think she put about 18 question marks with a thank you following that. You picked up a couple of rams. You texted me a picture of them. I know that. So
yeah.
So what happened there?
Proud. I was, they didn't even look half as cool as they did. I guess being stressed at the show, they didn't look super neat, but I could tell that they're really large, kind of well-formed rams. And so and another thing, like usually I love my fish store, but they never have pairs, and there's nobody there that's going to go, oh yeah, here's a male and here's a female, versus this guy who raised all these fish. I mean, he knows exactly which one's a male, which one's a female. He knows their entire life history and stuff. Not that he'd tell me what he was feeding them or anything. He just said, "You want me to tell you all my secrets?" Like, I'll figure it out. But I've always loved German blue rams. they are my favorite small fish. And, it's kind of the cichlid you can put in a lot of different tanks because their mouth's too small to like
do any damage.
Come after it even. Yeah, they can harass stuff, but most of the other fish they seem to get along with. So, and I'd never had a pair. I never had a female and a male, So, and I know they don't necessarily always work out. Like they kind of have to like each other. But he scooped them up, and they didn't even move. He put that net down there, and put them in the bag and stuff, and I had to catch some Cory cats. Like last time I did a water change, I tried to catch like 6 of them. I nearly I've like busted my shoulder. I think my shoulder's messed up from trying to catch those damn things. I mean, they're so fast, and these things just like bloop, picked them up. So I plopped them in. I had a 10-gallon set aside from some apistos, some peacock cichlids. But I moved the female I had there and the new male I just got in the mail. And I moved them down to the 55, and I put the new rams in this little 10-gallon tank. And it's a nice little planted tank. It's got some rocks. They like to spawn on hard surfaces, kind of like a lot of other cichlids, especially angelfish. My angelfish used to do it all the time. So I thought they would go on this little round rock in the front. So I put a little round rock there, but then they chose like a more slate-like rock that was sort of at an angle kind of behind them. But literally within 24 hours, they were gliding up and down that rock. She'd lay some eggs, and he'd come through, and all I did was I put them in a nice clean tank. I gave them some good quality food and put on Barry Manilow, and they just
Nice.
That's my secret. It's Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow. I wouldn't have thought of that. I mean, Marvin Gaye, a little Luther, maybe some Barry White, but I would have never thought of Barry Manilow. That's interesting.
Yeah, my secret weapon to make fish do it, or anything.
So rams are vertical egg layers? I thought they were substrate egg layers.
I thought that they, like, from what I had studied, I thought that they pick like a flat rock that's on the ground, and they kind of lay eggs all around there.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And I think sometimes they'll dig a nest, like if there's nothing appropriate, maybe they'll take sand and kind of make a divot and do it in there. But so I laid a rock that I thought would be perfect, but then they picked, of course, the one behind it. They put a few on that rock, but then they mostly went to town on this one. It's not super vertical. I'd say it's probably, like this is a good example. So like if that's flat, it would be probably about 45-degree angle, maybe something like that.
Okay.
And, yeah, I was surprised. I mean, within 2 days they were laying eggs, and they're still there, kind of fanning them and stuff. It was really neat.
So are the eggs still there? Has anything happened from it, or did they terminate that pregnancy?
There's a few less, I think, that they're started, but there's still eggs there. It's hard to tell. They're almost the same color as the rock, so it's sort of hard to tell. But yeah,
and I would imagine they're microscopic too.
Yeah, they're pretty small. And I'm blind. I filmed the whole thing with my 300mm macro lens and stuff. You can see it on there pretty easily, but.
Well, I tell you what, I know a guy that will take 6 or 8 of those off your hands if you get the babies and you raise them up to at least, maybe 1.5 inches or so. I know a guy that you can ship those to. He lives in Virginia. He's a good dude.
Well, that's the trick, isn't it? It's like getting the fry to live, either not be eaten by the parents or, just to find the appropriate food and stuff for them. So what do you feed babies of that size? What do you feed them?
I mean, I've never bred rams, but my instincts would tell me brine shrimp. I mean, that's what I would think. That's kind of like the go-to. Yeah, I mean, the go-to fry food. The best case scenario would be live hatching brine shrimp, which is not all that difficult to do. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's not hard to do. An air pump and a couple of plastic bottles and some salt is really all you need to do it. We used to do it all the time when we had our hatchery. Some people get these big elaborate, brine shrimp hatcheries, but you can do it with a couple of bottles. YouTube it, and trust me, it's there. And the nice thing about the live ones too is you can suck them up into a syringe, and you can put your hand down in there and kind of puff these brine shrimp right on the brood of fry. And they're all alive, and so they're swimming around. Little sea monkeys is all they are, and the fry will chase them around and stuff. It's fun. I used to love that. That was a good time.
Yeah, and it's warm enough I could do it in my garage too. They have to stay pretty hot, right? Brine shrimp.
Yeah, and you need to have like a light on them, and it's one of those things I thought about doing a video on a long time ago. I just never did. Maybe someday I will if I ever have a need for brine shrimp again. But everybody, any fish breeder will tell you, live baby brine shrimp is about as good a fish food as you can ever have. That's why all of the angel breeders and discus breeders and breeders of those type of South and Central American cichlids and stuff like that will have these big brine shrimp hatcheries because they're great. I mean, the frozen ones will work great too, but it's a little bit difficult to get them targeted to a certain area unless you thaw the cube out in a little cup or something like that and then suck it into a syringe. It's kind of the same thing as if they were live, but the live ones are the ones that are going to have the most nutrients and everything else like that in it. And it's fun to watch. I mean, I don't like watching fish eat feeder fish, but I like watching fish eat brine shrimp. I don't know.
Right.
It's weird. It brings back childhood memories of the whole sea monkey thing and all of that. But yeah, it's fun. So that's what I would do. I mean, if I were you, I'm sure you got an air pump laying around. I would look it up. It's literally just like cutting a bottle and flipping one end over and sticking it down in there, and that's where you do your brine shrimp. It's really easy to do. I mean,
yeah, I've got the little kits and stuff. I just haven't put it together.
Well, there you go. I have a friend that has one that's like this plexiglass or acrylic cone. It's a square, like upside down pyramid almost. It's huge, and he's an angel breeder. And man, the brine shrimp that come out of that thing, it's like he pulls the thing and it's like mud falls out of it, and it's just all live brine shrimp. It's ridiculous. I never made them to that level. So, all right, so let's move on here. Let's get a couple more questions. It's already been an hour and a half, except for our little intermission there. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but you want to go back to another plant question? Does that sound good to you?
Sure.
Wait a minute. Okay, there's a couple questions for me. It's not about me. It's about you. CJ's Aquariums. Next week's guest. I don't know if you were on here when I said it. I don't know if you're familiar with CJ's Aquariums. He's gotten big time into reef keeping and all of that. I've got my first saltwater tank that I'm working on right now that's full of diatom algae, and it's embarrassing. But he's coming on my show next week to educate me a little bit on saltwater tanks. So I'm really excited about that. But he asked a question: how does PeckTec feel about plants? This is going to be controversial.
Okay.
From PetSmart. He says, I wasted a lot of money using them. And I'm going to assume he's referring to the ones that are sold in the little tubes, but I don't know. I mean, they have them that they pull out of tanks too, so I don't know which ones exactly he's talking about. But how do you feel about plants that come from PetSmart?
I rescue plants from PetSmart all the time.
He rescues them. I like that.
I mean, it's the ones in the baskets, like back in the day in the baskets, you're kind of rolling the dice on whether you're going to get a quality specimen. In fact, you almost never got a really super good quality specimen. But beggars can't be choosers in my little town. So I've got PetSmart, and I've got my local aquarium shop, which is awesome and has some awesome things, but they won't always have it, and they don't always have enough. Especially if you got a show to do and you're going to do a tank tomorrow, you just go out and get some plants. I've been known to hit every PetSmart in town, but I just take the best plants out of there I can. Now, I love the plants that come in the gel packs, like the envelopes, like from Top Fin and like that. I use what I can, but they were, I don't know if those are cultured plants, kind of like the little cups. I don't know if those are the bags are cultured plants or they're some variant of that. But anytime you can get plants like that, they don't have snails, They don't have algae or all those other problems and stuff. I like those plants. Now I haven't gotten the tubes. Like I haven't needed like a sword from a tube or an Anubis from a tube or anything like that. I've never bought those. I think I did get, the closest I got to that was like a Temple Compacta. No, it's Temple Compact, not Compacta. I keep saying that. Anyway, the Temple Compact, and it's in my 27-gallon cube, and it's like doing amazing. So you can take a weak plant and put it in a really good environment. 3 of the plants I put in that 55, that dirted 55, 3 of them were dead. Like I would call them dead, pretty much. Like they had almost no roots. They had like 1 struggling leaf on it, and now they're exploding. So you can take a weak plant and put it in the right environment, it can come back. So you know, so if you want to just hate on PetSmart, you know, go ahead, but I don't think that's really the determining factor.
I like that you said you've rescued a lot of plants from PetSmart. I mean, I bought my 2 clownfish that I have in my saltwater tank at Petco, and I'm not ashamed that I did. I mean, you know, those stores, they certainly get a bad rep, and maybe they deserve it, but you know, I'm in King George, Virginia. Unless I want to drive an hour and a half, I've got to deal with either PetSmart or Petco. And there's certain things I will buy and certain things I won't. I mean, you know, Lisa was down, our Petco is right next door to Walmart, and she was at Walmart and she ran into Petco because I was like, you know what, we need some Cory cats. We really need some Cory cats in the discus tank. And so we had this whole plan of bringing them in and quarantining them for a while and all this kind of stuff, whatever. But she went in there and she was like, there were dead fish everywhere. So I didn't want to buy them. They had some Corys, but I didn't want to buy them. So you know what? As long as you're smart about it, you can buy from PetSmart or Petco. I mean, you know, it's no big deal. But I think those 2 companies,
especially if that's all you got.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't have any other options, there is always the online option. But then you got to start talking about shipping costs and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I understand it. That's why, you know, my store did fairly well, not enough to keep us in business, but you know, people were shocked. They were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe there's a store that sells fish like this in King George." But you know, the mom and pop pet stores are starting to slowly kind of become a thing of the past. It's unfortunate, but that's what's happening. And you know, online is going to be the best place to go. And I mean, these plants. Now I've only had them a week and a half, but these plants that I got from Cory, they're doing so well. I think I'm just going to stick with him instead of going down to Petco to get them. I have a question. I have not a personal question, but I personally have a question for you, Mr.
Okay.
Peck. And it's going to be really embarrassing asking you this question because what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my webcam. I think my USB cable is long enough for me to do this. I want to show you, I bought this from Petco. I bought a moss ball because I figured it was going to be the only thing I'd ever be able to keep that wouldn't die. And it has not died. But there is something interesting happening with it. And I'm going to make myself look like an idiot for 2 reasons. For one, this thing looks like garbage. And for 2, this tank is so dirty, there's no way in the world I should show it on this live stream right now. But I'm going to do it anyway because I want to get your input on this thing. It's going to be a bit of a challenge to do this without showing the secret tank. So, okay, there it is. Why is there hair growing on it? And how do I make the hair stop? I don't like the hair. Should I just cut it off?
Yeah, just cut that off. That's a Miramo ball, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's like they're like little balls of algae, is what they are. They're really densely packed balls of algae, and I can't tell. It kind of looks like it's got hair algae growing on top of it.
There's my little. It won't focus.
Is that a little bristle nose?
Yeah, little teeny guy.
They're so cute when they're little.
There's 3 of them in here. I don't know where the other ones are. You know, they're always all over the place. But yeah, that algae or whatever it is that's on there is really bothering me.
I think it's just hair algae on top of it. What you can do, if you want to, I don't know if you can either pull it off, or what I do with my plants to get hair algae is I'll give them a little spritz of hydrogen peroxide, and it just kills it. It kills it, leaves the plant. But
Okay.
I don't know what a Miramo ball, if it's like made of algae, if that'll like kill it all away.
I mean, I was thinking of just taking scissors and just snipping the damn thing. I mean, why not, you know?
Yeah, you can just give it a haircut.
Yeah.
The trick is to figure out if it's different than what the ball's made of. Like, is it something growing on top of it, or is it the ball expanding? Because they will kind of get ugly. Like after a while, they'll start to grow little, you know, they kind of get misshapen and stuff. And you can reshape them with your hands and just kind of round them out also.
I mean, I guess I either need to just trim it or maybe have Daniel-san or Mr. Miyagi come over here and trim them for me and make them beautiful for me. But yeah, I'm just going to cut it off. And the frustrating thing is you can't pull them out of the water and do it because it kind of all goes back together again once you pull it out of the water. It's just like a perfect little ball. So you got to do it while it's in the water. But anyway, I thought I would ask you about that. So let me see here.
If you don't have a set of tools yet, they're pretty handy. They seem like they seem outrageous to buy at first, but I got to tell you, I've used mine so many times over. And I think once you get to liking having plants in your tank and getting used to having plants in your tank, you'll keep doing it. So it might be worth it for $20. Get you a little aquatic scissor kit or something like that.
You know, you know you're big time on YouTube when your name shows up in other people's live stream chat more than the person who's actually doing the live stream. Everybody, Joey this, Joey that, Joey this, Joey that. My God, I can't get away from Joey. All right, let's see. Okay, so we already did the PetSmart question. Well, I'm not going to ask you the dirted question because you kind of already addressed that. Let's see here. There's one for me. This isn't about me answering questions. This is about PeckTec answering questions. All right, so let's see. I think my other moderator sent me one. Let's see. You want a pH question?
Okay.
Yolanda Herbert says, my pH keeps fluctuating. One day it's 7.2. Today it's 7.8. I've tried in past pH up. I put some crushed coral in the tank. I sent for pH. I'm reading this exactly like it's written. I'm going to start over. My pH keeps fluctuating. One day it's 7.2. Today it's 7.8. I've tried, I'm going to add some words. I've tried in the past pH up. I put some crushed coral in the tank. I sent for pH 8.2. Any recommend? Okay, so this is what I'm gathering here. This individual is trying to achieve a pH of 8.2, but the pH is fluctuating a bit on, I'm going to assume her. So you're dealing with a lot of saltwater stuff. So, you know, getting a high pH for you is probably not something that, I mean, I'm sure you know about, but I'm sure you do know about, but whatever. But what would your, as far as pH fluctuating, who cares about what they're trying to achieve, the final number? I can address that once you're done. But as far as pH fluctuating, how do you explain that, and how do you get through that?
Well, I personally never add anything to my water to make it go up or down. You kind of get that a little bit, like, other than CO2, and I've only got one tank that has pressurized CO2, and that does bring the pH down. But I don't like having to try a parameter that's specific. You know, I go with what my water is, and I pick my fish according to what will survive in my water that I have here naturally. And I'm just lucky, because Tennessee is a very aquatic area. And I have good water, you know, so I could keep a wide variety of stuff. The pH is real close to 7. It's like 7.2, 7.4. The things you put, usually crushed coral in your substrate usually makes the pH go up. But if you have, I guess if you have low alkalinity, it'll cause it to fluctuate. So you might want to try an alkalinity test and see if your water is just not not something that's going to be able to support a consistent altered state like that. I think it's really difficult, especially if you've got to go a long way. Like if your water's already 7.6 or 7.8, you could probably push it up a little bit without causing a lot of problems. But I think if your water's really naturally soft, you need to just rethink maybe what you want to collect. And people hate to hear that, but that's what I think.
Well, no, I mean, I agree to a point, because I do think that the easier you keep things, the more anybody's going to enjoy this hobby. I mean, because if you struggle, if you aren't enjoying yourself, you're going to get out, and this industry is going to crumble. So the easier you can keep it, the better. I mean, so yeah, sticking with your water, whatever it is, straight out of the tap, is absolutely the most foolproof way. Now, it sounds like Yolanda is trying to raise the pH, but she keeps getting fluctuations in it. pH up, no, I'm not into that stuff at all. And when you said you try not to put things in the tank to fluctuate the pH, I'm assuming you mean chemically, and I feel the exact same way. If I'm going to try to alter the pH in my tank, I'm going to try to do that naturally too. If I'm trying to go down, just thought my Oscar jumped out of the tank. If I'm trying to go down, I use things like driftwood, peat moss, stuff like that. It's very rare that I'm trying to go down. Yeah. Right now, I have an RO system, so that's an easy way to bring my pH down too. If I'm trying to go up, I do things like the substrate, adding certain rocks. Those are kind of the foolproof way. But you mentioned something about, if your pH is 7.6, you can make it maybe go up a little bit. I've had people that have emailed me or commented or whatever that have said my pH is 7.6. I want to keep Malawi African cichlids and I want to take it up to 8. What do I do? And I'm like, my advice is nothing. If you're coming out of the tap at 7.6, stick with that, because almost all of these, all of these fish are going to appreciate stability more than they will the pH being absolutely perfect. I don't care if you're keeping discus, angels, guppies, it doesn't matter. A steady pH is going to be better than one that goes up and down by putting chemicals and salt and all that kind of stuff in it. So,
there's no way. Nobody's a robot, and there's no way that they can keep a consistent. If you have to alter it to get it there, aside from maybe substrate, because all kinds of planted substrates, like you mentioned, like the peat moss, the driftwood, and even like 88 aqua soil and things like that, they'll soften the water quite a bit, and they kind of keep it that way. When you add fresh water in, especially if it's not a lot different than what's in the tank, maybe just a little different because it gets softened as it seasons up in your aquarium. But the consistency is more important than any other factor. It doesn't have to be optimal. I mean, it's better especially if you want to breed. Now, the people that really get into the science, like I consider myself a hobbyist. Once you get into expert level and then you start to really, really pay attention, if you're going to give that scrutiny, go for it. And there are all kinds of people smart enough to really get their water up and be exactly where they want and be consistent. I think the average Joe six-pack can't do that and won't do that. So I don't try to offer advice in that arena. Usually. You froze again. I hope nope, there you go. No, it is a really difficult thing to answer because, there's a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions on maintaining pH and stuff like that. Tell you an interesting story. You're familiar with Discus Hans, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the most renowned names in discus in the United States, at least. He breeds, or he doesn't breed. He does breed them, but he's not a hatchery. He distributes Stenker discus, which are known for being a lot more tolerable to tap water conditions. The first time I went up to his shop, he's just got a dream fantasy land of a shop full of discus. He was talking to me about his maintenance schedule and stuff like that, and he was giving me some valuable education on pH because I was always told if you're going to keep discus, the water has to be extremely soft and it has to be down, way past neutral, way below neutral. And, you got to get RO systems and all this. And he told me something that absolutely blew my mind. He said, and this is, everybody can learn from this. He said, my pH, I wish I could do the accent that Hans has. He said, my pH out of the tap here is 7.6. I don't have anything in the water. I don't have any plants or peat moss or anything to bring the pH down. I keep it where it is. In fact, after the water has been in there for a time and there's leftover food and the filters are getting gunked up and the fish are pooping and the pH starts to drop, he said, I'll do a water change to bring it back up to a 7.6 with my discus in there. And I'm like, bring it back up. Are you crazy? These are discus. But that absolutely blew my mind that this man who has $300,000 worth of inventory in his shop that are discus, which everybody thinks are so delicate and so fragile, he's doing a water change to bring the pH up. Blew my mind. But that was his way of teaching me that consistency is more important than anything else. And understand, there's no one on this planet that does more water changes than Discus Hans does. So it's not like he's letting his shop get to a point where the fish have been swimming around in their own shit for 3 weeks before he does a water change. No, this guy's doing water changes almost every day. It's insane. But I just thought that was crazy, especially when we're talking about discus, that he would do a water change so that he could bring the pH back up. So, for Yolanda, consistency is absolutely the key. Let's go back to plants. This is all of a sudden I'm becoming the plant guy because I did one video on plants. But no, you're definitely a good person to turn to. Now, I don't think you have any African cichlids at all. The only cichlids you have are rams and what do you have? Some apistos?
Yeah.
Okay. So I certainly can't answer this question, but this is a question for you, and it is from IFG. So when you're done answering this question, you have to say, peace. The question is, besides Java fern, what is a good plant for an African cichlid tank? And that's the $1 million question because everybody says you can't put plants with African cichlids. So there you go. Go.
A lot of fish don't like Anubias. It kind of has a bitter taste. I've never tried it myself. That's what I hear. Is it sort of has a bitter taste and the leaves are really tough. So you probably could try Anubis in there with it, and they accept a pretty wide variety of water parameters and stuff. Plus, they don't have to be buried in there. You just tie them to a rock or driftwood or whatever. So it's a little bit harder for the fish to just pull it straight up out of the water. I know a lot of cichlids will just pluck stuff right and move the gravel all around and that sort of thing. So that won't bother. It's a lot like Java fern in that way.
Well, I mean, and IFG, I don't think he has anything except for peacocks and haps, and they're not as much veggie eaters as imbunas are. But I will add, not because I'm educated, but I will add to what Sean just said. And then I'm going to ask you one more question about plants, and then we're going to start to wrap this up because we're going on 2 hours here. Corey from Aquarium Co-op has told me that when we're done with the discus tank, that he's going to work with me on putting some plants in there. I told him he was crazy, but he said we're going to put some plants in the 240 with peacocks, haps, imbunas, and even tropheus. And I said he was nuts, but he said we're going to do it. So he wanted to know if I was open to the idea, and I said I hadn't even ever thought about it. But he says that we're going to do that. So I'm excited about that. So IFG, stay put and wait, probably for a while, and you might see your answer right there. Now, let's get one more question in. I am totally catering to my moderators and my admins here. IFG is an admin on my Facebook group as well as a moderator here on YouTube. God bless that guy. But another guy that is just an amazing human being is a gentleman by the name of Paul Martin, and he asks you, Sean, he says, if you will, ask about the need, in parentheses, or is it necessary to trim roots off of Anubias?
You broke up a little bit, but did you say, is it necessary to trim roots before you plant?
Is it necessary to trim? The question is it ask about the need, or is it necessary to trim roots off of Anubias? Did I break up again?
It broke up.
Are you not
on me.
hearing
I'm
me?
really sorry. I could hear you, but it's like every other word.
Okay, how about now? I mean, I can hear you perfectly fine.
What's funny is right up until the question gets asked, I can hear you fine.
All right, well, let me try to do it real quick this time.
Okay.
Is it necessary to trim roots off of Anubias?
Oh, I do. I don't know. There's so many things I kind of do just to see if it works. And a lot of times what I'll do is you can see some of the roots have gone black, or some of the roots look a little dead. I'll trim those off along with and just give the roots that are going even more the energy. Everything you remove from a plant is a little bit less energy it has to produce in order to keep going. So everything with a plant either creates energy or it uses it. And the leaves both, the leaves collect the sunlight, and then the roots collect all the nutrients and stuff. So if you cut those back, then they become beefier and stronger. So I do like to trim some of the roots. I always leave a few of them though. But any root along the rhizome, or any little collection of 3 or 4 roots along the rhizome of the plant can work for the entire plant. You know what I mean? So it's not a big deal to trim off to kind of give more energy to those ones that are still there.
Okay, and you referred to the riot zone? Is that what you said?
The rhizome. I think I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. That's the stem. Like on an Anubias, so you've got the stem where the leaves are growing off of, and then the roots are growing out of the bottom of. That's called a rhizome. And you want to always keep that above ground. That if you planted that, if you were to put that into your sand, it would just rot. It would just rot away. It's meant to it needs to have sunlight hitting it to trigger the leaves to grow.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that answers Paul's question. You did it very well. So that is going to be the last question, especially if I'm starting to break up now. My God. And now my frog is back. I've got a frog that stays outside of my basement door, and he starts barking, and people complain about it. They don't complain about it, but they break my balls about it on my live streams. So he's out there and he's hollering at me. So let's start to wind this thing down. We're coming up on 2 hours, and you got a family to go hang out with, and so do I. So what can we look forward to from the PeckTec channel? What do you have coming up? What are you excited about that's going to be going on? You going to any more conventions or anything like that? What's happening with you what can people look forward to in the near future?
I'd like to go to CatCon in a few months. I think that's in October. So that's probably the next convention I'll go to. This
Is that
Sunday,
the one in DC? Is it in Virginia?
I think it's in Virginia. I think it's close to you. So you should look it up. I don't know exactly where it is. Yeah,
I think it's in
Herndon. Plan on going to that one.
If you're talking about the Catfish Convention, that's in Herndon, Virginia. I'm an hour from there. If you're going to go, let me know. I'll be there.
I'll definitely go. I'll bring my CPAP machine. We'll hang out.
Oh no, I'm not sleeping with you. No.
Oh, I thought that's what I got for doing this thing. I thought that was our trade.
No, you should bring.
there.
You should bring your CPAP machine for the sake of all of the other guests in the hotel that you're going to stay at. Because
to keep the hotel from falling into the ground.
That's right. I mean, you're close to DC, and there might be, they might consider it to be a threat of some type of terrorism or something, all that noise you make.
But I've got a bunch of footage. I've got a couple of interviews from last weekend. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be playing some stuff from that show. I did the beta game recently where I just showed as many betas as I could, or I'm sorry, beta. I showed as many, I feel like make myself say that.
I say beta.
I have to make myself say beta. Beta, whatever. So I did this thing where I showed as many of them as I could, and I just let people pick their favorite one just for fun. So since I was at a cichlid show, I played the cichlid game. So I've got like just cichlid after cichlid after cichlid after cichlid, and that's what it's going to be this Sunday is the cichlid game. So it'll be a lot of fun, and pretty soon the clones will be back for a little collaboration with Jeff B. and a special mystery person that I'll announce later. So
a collaboration
that's what
with,
I've got going.
A collaboration with who?
Jeff B. He's a YouTuber in Hawaii, and he's got a really, really cool flower horn that I'm in love with. So I'm not going to give away what's going to happen, but the clones are going to be kind of expanding their territory a little bit. They're going to be moving around a little bit more. See, the Quantum, the spaceship's been slowly being repaired inside of my aquarium. So since this Christmas, they've been kind of in dormancy, just waiting to strike.
Nice. Well,
so I'm going to be working on that for the next couple of weeks.
If you end up bringing some of them to Herndon with you, then I'm only an hour away. You should send one of them here to hang out with me in here, and we could do all kinds of stuff. You
can make him clean your aquariums, do whatever. Yeah,
he could come here and trim that hair off of the algae ball. That'd be perfect.
You can trim your hairy ball. That's what he'll do.
That just happened. I literally just set that up for you. Woo!
You did. It's like,
well done, my friend. Well done.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, well, dude, this has been a pleasure. This has been fun. Not as fun as I expected because of the technical difficulties, but you were a good sport about it. I appreciate you coming back because, you know, I think I would have just fallen apart if it was up to me to do the whole thing. So
I'm glad it worked out. What a nightmare, but I'm glad it worked out in the end.
And you know what? I mean, I don't know if it was on your end or on mine. I don't know. Like I said, my internet has been screwy lately. I definitely want to thank Paul Martin and the Inquisitive Fish guy. Those two guys have helped me out so much, Sean. You have no idea. And they never ask for a thing. It's just unbelievable. I feel bad because I don't have anything to give them. But one of these days, I'm going to take care of those guys as good as they take care of me. So thank you to them for helping out with the questions here. The questions that I have read off to you have been from them. They sent them over to me to ask to you. So I thank them very much for that. If this was going to be like it was last week, we would have just been running in circles, and it would have been a real difficult thing to do. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But I have had a great time, and I'm going to let you have the last words. I want to thank everybody for watching, but then I want to turn it over to Sean, and you can close this thing out, because usually when I try to close out these live streams, it takes me a half an hour to do it. So I'm just going to let you do it this time.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I had a great time meeting. If this is the first time meeting me, be sure to come over to my channel. It's PeckTec, P-E-C-K-T-E-C. Super easy. Go over there, check it out. Try to do the unexpected, and sometimes the interesting, and sometimes the funny, sometimes the not as funny. So follow your bliss. Bye-bye.